Now, Unit Radio presents The Two Show with Tone, in conversation with Matt Baker.
Hello and welcome to The Two Show with me, Tone. And today, The Two Show meets The One Show, where I'll be talking to a presenter of The One Show, who also presents Countryfile and formerly Blue Peter. So welcome, Matt Baker, to The Two Show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And do you know why The Two Show is called The Two Show?
Is that because the one show was already taken?
Yes! Exactly. Brilliant, yes.
Like it was rehearsed, Tone.
Yeah, like it was rehearsed.
Magic.
Yeah, completely not rehearsed. And talking of The One Show, How did you come to join the programme?
Do you know, well, I guess, weirdly, you've got to kind of rewind all the way back to Blue Peter, which was one of the programmes that you mentioned there.
Oh, right.
And, weirdly, I was a gymnast for many years of my life, and I never, ever wanted to get into television at all. And it kind of happened by accident, because I ended up in a college production of the musical Grease to do some backflips and almost be like a stunt double for the guy who was taking the lead role.
Oh, right.
And what happened was he got laryngitis a couple of days before the show opened.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, and he couldn't speak, he couldn't sing. And because I'd followed him around the stage, basically the sixth form teacher said to me, well, can you step in and do the role?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I'll see what happens. And... well, to cut a long story short, I ended up at drama school, and then I ended up ringing up the BBC, and then somehow I ended up on Blue Peter, which was the craziest time ever. And after nearly 8 years of Blue Peter, and then doing Countryfile, and then Strictly came along, and it all just sort of fell into place, really, Tone. And then suddenly, before I knew it, because I used to sit in quite a bit for Adrian Childs, who was a former one-show presenter when he was off on holiday and stuff like that. And yeah, I just got a really good relationship with the team. And Adrian left, and one thing and another happened, and they asked me if I would come and do the one show, and I've now done it for 7.5 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Almost as long as you've done the two show for.
7.5 years, I haven't done probably half the time as you've done. So why do you think the One Show is so popular, and how is it kept fresh?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kept fresh because everybody that we have on it's different every night, and we kind of build the show around the people that we've got sat on our lime green sofa. And the thing is, it's such an eclectic mix of random stuff. It's almost like a conversation over a garden wall, or a chat that you'd have with your friends, or this, that, and the other. 1 minute you're talking about one thing, the next minute you're talking about something else. Yeah. And because it fires all over the place, and you know that in the next sort of 2 or 3 minutes we're going to be onto something else. If you think, I'm a bit bored of this, you know that something else is coming that is going to be completely different to what we're doing now. And so because it's so rapid and so quick, and it's a classic magazine show, and it's called a magazine show for a reason, because quite literally you turn the page of the magazine and there's something completely different coming up. So we like to try and make it as diverse as possible with the content that we're doing each night, and we just keep it quirky. I think that's the key with it.
It certainly is quirky.
Yeah. And that's what Britain is. Britain is quirky. There's nowhere else like it. And that's what I love about it. And again, I love the fact that we get, quite famous people on this programme, and yet we'll only talk to them about what they're on to talk about for maybe a minute and a half. The rest of the show, we're sort of asking them if they ever put food out for hedgehogs, or if they've ever been rescued by the fire brigade, or what their favourite bus route is. And you never get that kind of content on any other shows, and so that is what makes it unique. The One Show, the Uno Show, Unico Show.
Yes, I see. You're trying to outdo me, Matt, here. I'm not sure how I feel about all this. But anyway, since presenting the Two Show, we probably do on average 1 interview a month. Whereas on the One Show, you interview, as you mentioned, a guest every show. It's incredible. It must require a huge amount of research, even though they don't speak for that long, as you've said.
Yeah, well, what you've got to be ready for is anything. And actually, you want to deliver interesting content to all of your viewers. And so really the key is to kind of know what the answer is that you're going to ask, you know what I mean? So you know that there's good content there. Yeah. So you think, right, we're going to go down this avenue, but you've got to be all the time, you've got to be listening. You've got to be interested in what that person's saying, because sometimes the conversation goes off in a way that you never even imagined. And so it is a little bit like surfing a wave or something like that, because it's live and because none of it's edited. And this is the other scary bit of it, really, that, you know, the minute we say hello to when we say goodbye, it's got to be an exact amount of timing, because we've got all of this content and this stuff ready to go, that you're almost producing it as you go along. You're thinking to yourself, right, I'm going to chuck that out, we'll lose that, we'll talk more about this. And so that process is what I find fascinating, almost creating that live performance. It's like a big old buffet of content, and you're thinking to yourself, right, we'll have a bit of this and we'll have a bit of that and we'll chuck that away, we don't need that anymore. And therefore you're building something that's entertaining and interesting the whole time. But the key, without any doubt, is just to keep listening and work out what is engaging that person and what's making them the most entertaining. And so you keep hitting those buttons, if you know what I mean. If what they're saying is a bit boring, then you think, okay, let's move on. I'm just sensing you glazing over a little bit now, so that's why I've stopped.
No. I'm kidding, Dory. I'm doing exactly what you're pretty much described just there.
Good.
I'm just trying to think up of what question to ask you next, and I have the question.
Good lad, Todd.
What does each new guest bring to each one-show programme?
So each new guest gives us, to be honest with you, they give us a perspective to start with.
Right.
So, for example, tonight I won't tell you who it is, but we've got a wonderful guest on.
I know who it is.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, they're into Beatles, so we've gone on Beatles in a big way, and insects in general that are heroes in the animal kingdom world. So the fastest, the strongest, that kind of thing. So. So, like I say, we're sort of building it around them. We've got Peter Egan on as well, who is a vegan. Peter Egan, the vegan. So we're thinking of ways in which to get that little nugget of information into.
Yeah. It's going to be very popular with viewers, I can imagine. Hashtag vegan. That's what's going to come up.
Egan the vegan.
Yep. That's right. Strawberry Fields is my favourite Beatles song.
Nice.
There you go. You can mention that on the show. So what do you enjoy about interviewing the guests who appear on the one show?
I enjoy... To be honest with you, what you notice very quickly is that everybody is actually very normal. And that they're always a bit nervous about coming onto the show, because you're obviously, like we said before, you're going to ask them lots of random things that are not within the ballpark of what they're used to talking about. So with that in mind, you're constantly putting people at ease, and you're letting them know what's coming up. You're trying to make them feel relaxed and comfortable. And that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy seeing people that you maybe see in a very different light, like a singer or a movie star or whatever, and they walk in and you are welcoming them into your little set, and you're going to go, right, okay, let's just sit down, relax, we'll have a nice little chat about this, that and the other. And I enjoy making people feel comfortable, and I enjoy the challenge of hoping that people, when they're nice and relaxed and happy, that they'll chat away and feel like they're not on telly. And I think that's what I really enjoy. I like to make a television programme that doesn't make people feel like they're on telly, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Like we're making the programme now, as though you weren't on radio.
On radio, yeah, exactly. It's like we're almost just me and you, just having a chat in our nice little green room, and lots of people just happen to be listening to what we're talking about. But you know what? What's important is the fact that we're having a nice bit of banter here.
Yes. Such as the green room isn't so green, it's more yellow.
Yeah, it's our mustard room.
Yes.
It's our nice little mustard room.
Mustard room. Anyway, are there any guests that have been on the one show that you felt privileged to have met?
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks was a good one. And he was such a lovely bloke. I can't tell you. One of our views, we had a lovely film about a girl who we were following through university, and she was a big fan of typewriters. Oh, right. And he said, do you know what, I'm going to send her a typewriter. Because he collects typewriters. Oh, really? Yeah. And so he went home, and sure enough, he packaged up one of his most beautiful typewriters, and he sent it to her at university. Yeah. Wow. So that was a real privilege. We get lots of singers. I love music. I like playing music, and I play piano and guitar and things like that. And so I often feel really privileged to sit and talk to, musicians about their inspiration and where they get their ideas for their songs from. And Dolly Parton was a really good... She came actually into my dressing room and chose my shirt for the night. Because I said, Dolly, I've got a few cowboy shirts lined up, but I don't know which one would be appropriate. And she said, right, come on, I'm going to help you choose. So that was great. Yeah, it's cool, man. We had the Killers on. They were great. I love the Killers. I listen to the Killers a lot.
Yeah.
And they came on, so that was good to meet Brandon Flowers.
Oh, wow. That's an amazing lineup.
Well, look, you only have to look around here, Tony, yourself, and look at all the faces that are up here. And you think, wow, I can't believe I've met them. We had the old cast of Star Wars on just a few days ago, and it's amazing.
You should play some live music on the one show, I think.
I should play myself, you mean? Yeah. Well, I keep it a bit quiet, you see. I don't really tell anyone I do it.
Oh, okay.
Something you've got to keep some things to yourself.
Okay. Should I cut that bit out then?
You can use it. Have the exclusive.
Yay. Okay, I'll use that then. Okay, so could you talk us through a recording day on the one show?
Yeah, so it depends what day it is, because for our Wednesday show we start a little bit earlier on, but in general we'll get in and have a good meeting around lunchtime about what stuff we're really going to go for on the programme that night. And we'll have, again, like I was saying, that kind of buffet of content. So what you do is we sit there and we get rid of a load of stuff that we're not really that interested in, and we think, right, this is the focus, let's go with this. And so you start building it there, and then we'll go, once we've nailed down what we really want to talk about, 100, 150, maybe 200% of stuff of which we're only going to use 70% of. So we've got a lot more stuff than we actually need. So then we'll start researching more, and then we might start looking at other funny little clips or moments that we want to bring into the show. And then at around sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock, we'll get into the studio and we'll start looking at those clips in the studio setting and see how they feel, and maybe we might start bringing in a few sound effects and all that kind of stuff, and then going through some little lines that we want to work on or whatever. And then so they're not involved in any of this at all, and then about 30 seconds to 7 o'clock we'll bring our guest in, and then put the trumpets on, and off we go.
One. What should I say? Two.
Yeah. Well,
two.
have you got a little theme tune for your show?
Yeah. Do you know what? The new theme should be two. Anyway, do you suggest stories or guests to the production team? Perhaps,
absolutely.
Perhaps related to your interests?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the lovely thing about it, You do 100% just inject your own personality into it. And to be honest with you, when you're live anyway, you can sit and have a chat about whatever you want, Like I was saying, it's important that you are receptive to your guests, you're listening to them. And if what's happening and the buttons that you're pressing are working, then you just go with the flow on the night. Because it's live, and that's the lovely thing about it. And that's what makes the entertainment what it is. Because, if you pre-recorded it and cut all the bits out, then it wouldn't have the magic that it has. It's unpredictable. You just go in with the flow, and that is what I love about it. If it was pre-recorded, I probably wouldn't do this show.
Okay. So let's hope they carry on doing it live then. Yeah. I'll be watching you. I'll be watching you tonight.
Are you coming into the audio? Are you actually coming into the studio tonight? Or
yes, that's right, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Magic.
I get to witness it all.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on now.